Good evening and welcome to the Port Clinton City Council meeting of December 20th, 2011, and it will be our last meeting of the year. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, the Lord's Prayer, and a moment of silence for our men and women serving overseas and the safe return of our guests. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. We have no minutes. Oh, we'll do the roll call. Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll?
John Folger.
Present.
Vince Leon.
Present.
Deborah Benko.
Present.
Kathy Mel.
Present.
Mike Snyder.
Present.
Mark Kopler.
Present.
Randy Lipshaw.
Here.
Thank you. So the chair notes that certification has been received regarding compliance with the rules and notification of this meeting, and will now go to the mayor's report.
I have nothing to report since last week I did, but I'd just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you. Auditor's report.
I just want to say happy holidays, everybody. I've got nothing to report. Thank you, Madam President.
Treasurer's report.
Madam President, could I echo the auditor? Merry Christmas. I don't have anything.
Law director's report.
Guess it's unanimous, huh?
Tracy's not here this evening, but he did ask me to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday. We have no correspondence. We will now go to the readings of ordinances. We have no third readings. On second reading of ordinances, would the clerk please read by title and summary only? Ordinance 27-11.
Ordinance 27-11, an ordinance designating a revitalization district within the city of Port Clinton.
Does council wish to take any action this evening on ordinance 27-11? Seeing none, that would move to the January 10th meeting, 2012. Also, please remember that there will be a public meeting on this ordinance at 7 o'clock on that same evening. If you know anybody who has a business in that district, please encourage them to attend, because we're only having one public meeting, and this is their opportunity to comment on being in that riverfront district. So, in case they haven't read it in the paper, if you'd like to kind of get the word out. Would the clerk please read by title and summary only, ordinance 28-11.
Ordinance 28-11, an ordinance amending section 915.04 of the codified ordinance of the city of Port Clinton relating to sanitary sewer rates and declaring an emergency.
Does council wish to take any action this evening on ordinance 28-11? Mr. Folger.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we waive the 3 required readings on ordinance 28-11.
I have a motion to waive the 3 required readings on ordinance 28-11. Do I have a second?
Second, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Kopler. Any discussion on the waiving of the 3 readings? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Randy Lipshaw.
Yes.
Mike Snyder.
Yes.
John Folger.
Yes.
Kathy Mel.
Yes.
Vince Leon.
Yes.
Mark Kopler.
Yes.
Deborah Benko.
Yes.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any further action on ordinance 28-11, Mr. Folger?
Madam President, I move that we retain the emergency clause on ordinance 28-11.
I have a motion to retain the emergency clause on ordinance 28-11. Do I have a second?
Second, Madam
Thank
President.
you, Mr. Kopler. Any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Kathy Mel.
Yes.
Deborah Benko.
Yes.
Vince Leon.
Yes.
Mark Kopler.
Yes.
Mike Snyder.
Yes.
John Folger.
Yes.
Randy Lipshaw.
Yes.
Thank you. Does council wish to take any further action on ordinance 28-11? Mr. Folger.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to, as my last formal motion to this council, move that we adopt ordinance 28-11.
I have a motion to adopt ordinance 28-11. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Livestraw. Any discussion on the adoption? Ms. Benko?
I would just say that I'm glad to see that we are taking a look each year at the automatic 4% increase, and it certainly is a step in the right direction to be looking at only a 2% increase, but I continue to support a freeze while we have the third highest sewer rates in the state.
Thank you. Mr. Folger?
I just want to clarify something too. Not only does this ordinance reduce this next year's rate increase from 4% to 2%, but it establishes the benchmark of 2% per year in the future unless council makes a change. So in 2013, unless council acts on this, it will also be a 2% increase, not a 4%.
Anyone else? Seeing no other comments, would the clerk please call the roll?
John Folger,
Yes.
Randy Lipstraw,
No.
Deborah Benko,
No.
Mark Kapler,
Yes.
Mike Snyder,
Yes.
Vince Leone,
Yes.
Kathy Mel,
Yes. Thank you. Ordinance 28-11 has passed. We have no third readings of ordinances, and we will now go to business from the floor. Mr. Folger.
Thank you, Madam President. I have prepared some remarks upon my last city council meeting. If you all may indulge me. I went ahead and wrote them out, so I would try not to sound too foolish. I'd like to take a few moments, as customary, at one's last council meeting, to make a final few closing remarks whereby I offer up my thanks, some advice, and maybe a smile or two. I came on council in 2004, and in the years since have served on with a total of 14 other members of the community on this august body. During that time, I have been assured several times over that everyone who I have served with has demonstrated their heartfelt desire to see Port Clinton continue to prosper and grow. I have no doubt that that will be the case as this new council is seated next year. During that same time period, Linda Hartlaw has served as our council president, and I would like to recognize her success as demonstrating impartiality during the meetings she has chaired, and I also like to say that I've enjoyed our few luncheons together and hope to have some more in the future. I also would like to say that I really enjoyed serving together with you, and I hope that maybe in the future that we can serve on another organization. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. I would like to thank our two members of the Finance Committee, Mike Snyder and Mark Kaufman, as well as our cheerful city auditor, Larry Hartlaw. We've had a good 2 years. I think we made a lot of good progress for the city, and I think helped achieve some of our goals, one of them being to simply make the finance part of the city more understandable. Mike, by the way, better luck next year in the football program against Mount Lamar. Enjoyed those comments too. I would like to thank James Hansen, who's here tonight, as well as Terry Witter, a former council member, for mentoring me on council. And I would also like to recognize individuals in the community who regularly attend our meetings. Those of you out in the audience, you remind us that we are not just talking to ourselves up here. Thank you for coming, being interested. I would also like to thank members of the community who believed in me enough that they put me in office. I hope I served you well. I would like to offer up a special thanks and a hearty well job done to our mayor. After reviewing your accomplishments, I find it absolutely incredible that you've been able to accomplish so much in 4 short years. I have no hesitation in declaring that you have been the most productive mayor that the city has had in the last 30 years. Your leadership on council got us a stable emergency services department through leading a successful campaign to establish a fire levy, a negotiated contract with Portage Township, remember that? And North Central EMS. And I'll tell you what, that was a good contract for the city. And unfortunately, fire departments are budget busters in cities throughout the state of Ohio. But fortunately for us, the mayor's leadership, along with our volunteer firemen, has made that issue a non-issue in this city for years to come. I recall one of the first things you did as mayor was to get rid of the professional lobbyists that was costing the city over $20,000 a year. If I remember right, we were writing a check and we never figured out what we were getting for our money. You took that job on yourself, and you're obviously very good at that. As the city has received many millions more in funding than that's from the state than we have received in prior years. The community knows of all the projects you've spearheaded as mayor, and in the next few years they will see the many more that you've already started and are in the pipeline towards completion. All these will be marks of your legacy in Port Clinton as mayor. For incoming mayor, I wish you the best of all. In your new responsibility, I will say that you have tough shoes to fill. And I will also say that I've been impressed with your involvement in so many different activities and organizations throughout our community. And I've listened to you speak, Liz, about the importance of principles and how they drive your life. And I'm certainly in agreement with you. And I believe you will work your tail off. Good luck. Thank you very much. To all of us, principles, character, a dedication to understand what's right and wrong, and courage gained from your convictions are what carries us through life. Our community needs strong leaders. We need strong leaders that we can follow because our community needs to be all going in the same direction if we are to succeed. We need people that we can point to and say, I will follow him because I believe in him. All of us up here tonight have sought out our leadership role. In our community, we made a conscious decision to become a leader in our community by running for election. Therefore, we must be willing to assume the responsibilities and risks and live as the role as a leader in our community every day for us to be effective. Now, I'm not saying we must live a perfect life or be considered a failure, because none of us are. None of us are perfect. We all fail. It's what we do after we fail that speaks about our character. But what we can and must do is something to strive towards that goal of living based on the principles that we hold dear and a strong character. Because as a leader, you will inspire others. They see you and how you live your life on a daily basis. Now, what I mean by strong leader doesn't mean that it's my way or the highway. A strong leader must maintain an open mind and a healthy dose of humility. Because when you charge up that hill to take on an issue, you want to make sure there are people right with you. A strong leader raises up people with him, and we need our community to believe in all of you. Being a public leader sometimes forces us to suffer the personal pains of slings and arrows of our detractors. It may not be right, but is accepted and probably should be expected and has been a part of our political history since this country was founded. And it's because we fail. We all fail. Whether it's an article in the Sandusky Register, or a compromising picture on the front page of the News Herald, or a rumor running around town, we must individually be prepared for it. It was unfortunate because these attacks hurt more than their intended target. If the 500-pound gorilla sits down in your living room, you will have to choose whether to deal with it or ignore it. Your decision will speak for your personality and character, and it will be an indicator of who you are as a leader in our community. In closing, I would like to encourage all of us to remember, and I feel this strongly, that more government isn't always the right solution and can frequently be the problem. We need to resist the urge to enact more laws and tighten restrictions on our liberty in an effort to achieve a more harmonious community. Instead, I ask that we focus more on holding ourselves and others accountable for their actions. The community has the right to expect that we all treat each other with respect. Again, that will require you to become strong leaders in your neighborhood. Seek out and get to know your neighbors. Understand their hopes, expectations, and needs. Help lift them up to achieve those hopes. And encourage them to seek out and engage with others in the neighborhood. We've seen this work. We've seen this spark grow in our Conestoga neighborhoods. It's working in our community. We can see it. And as the neighborhoods bind together, neighbor will treat neighbor as they would like to be treated. It's a golden rule. Pretty simple. I truly believe that we are very fortunate to be living in the city named Port Clinton. We have so much to be thankful for. And for all of you here tonight, I'm sure that your leadership, we will all succeed. Good luck. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
I know you get to follow.
Let's see this.
It was really all.
Very impressive. Very humbling. A couple things. I'll definitely be a lot shorter than John, but I do appreciate the words of wisdom. Well taken. I'm stopping my tracks there for a second. Very good. There will be no laws, rules, and ordinance meeting on the 27th, obviously due to the Christmas holidays. And I do wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you. Along with that, since this is our last council meeting, I will be formally giving my resignation as a councilman of Ward 1, so that I can assume the responsibilities of mayor on January 1st. So I can present that to you, Madam President. I wish you nothing but the very best. Very impressive. Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you.
Ms. Benko?
Best wishes to John and the mayor, and happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Ms. Mel?
Well, let's see. First of all, I'd like to just mention, shout out of congratulations to Roseanne Hickman, our police chief's wife. I don't know if you saw it in the paper or not, but she was picked as Woman of the Year. So not only is our police chief a great man, but also congratulations to his lovely wife. I thought that was very nice. I'd also like to thank the mayor for her friendship, her guidance, her leadership over the last 2 years that I've known the council. I have to echo what John said, that you've done a yeoman's job, really. It's unbelievable. And John, I hate to see you go. It almost makes me cry. And you've done a wonderful service to the community, and you're a great leader. You really are. And we need you, but I understand. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Now, also, I'd like to have, I'm going to put forth the motion this evening, and this deals with the lighthouse. And I'll just read this. The members of the Port Clinton Lighthouse Conservancy attended the last meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Cemetery, held on December 13, 2011. They related the story of the Port Clinton Lighthouse that was built in 1896. A group of very talented community members have been meeting for the last year to restore this lighthouse. Through the generosity of Daryl and Connie Brand, on whose property the lighthouse sits, the Brands and the Conservancy has asked the city to accept the gift of the lighthouse. The Parks, Recreation, and Cemetery Committee voted unanimously on December the 13th, 2011 to recommend that the city accept the gift of the lighthouse. We would like to make a motion to accept the gift of the lighthouse, and then this will allow the new mayor to move ahead with the ownership of the lighthouse, and that will take some time to work that out. In accordance with the agreement passed out to council tonight, so move ahead.
So I have a motion on the floor to accept the lighthouse from Daryl and Connie Brand as according to the agreement that you, in accordance with the agreement that you have already given. Do I have a second?
Second, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Steiner. Any discussion?
I just have something. Once we accept ownership of it, who is responsible for any maintenance?
The city would,
So the city will be responsible for continuing maintenance through the years.
I think that it will work more like the Friends of the Park, where the Conservancy, I have a hard time with that word, will work to continue painting, the upkeep, and working on that, just like the Friends of the Park work with the parks. And it is going to be its own 501c3 and or 3C, 501c3. And right now it's operating under the Friends of the Park, but as soon as that legality is taken care of, they'll be their own independent group. And I think they have every intention, well, I know they do, of having grants and accepting donations for the upkeep of that lighthouse. And it will be a while, Mr. Lipstraw, until we're able to take ownership. And that this really just says that the council is in favor and hands it to our new mayor to be able to work with the lawyers and all that to move ahead. I think that's the most easy way to explain it.
Any other discussion? Mr. Leon?
In this agreement here, it talks about a couple different things that I'd like to get some answers for. It talks about the city agrees to pay for the removal. Do we have a cost on this? Is it movable? There's a lot of questions I have concerning this.
I'm
Also,
sorry.
as far as placing it, I don't think the council's agreed to put it anywhere, so I guess. I guess for me, I'd just like to have those all answered before we agree on anything. This is kind of agreeing to something with a lot of unknowns. That's sweet, answers.
Yeah, I think,
Is it something we have to move right away? How is it being, I guess there's a lot of
No,
questions.
they're not moving it right away. They actually took it apart and took the
cupola.
Thank you. Cupola already, and they're working on that, and then they're restoring the bottom of the base of it, and when it's ready to be moved, at
On
Grant's,
Grant's
on
property?
Grant's property right now. Yeah, they're restoring it. Bill Moon, Doug Garrett, Sam Holstead,
So,
and I know I'm missing somebody else that's,
John,
John Smothers, thank you, for the contractors and restoring the lighthouse.
so we can leave it there for a limited amount of time.
Yes.
We just got to figure out the cost of removing it.
Well, no, the
No.
city's not gonna, the
No.
Conservancy is gonna take care of all of
Yeah.
the,
I'm just looking at what it's saying here. City agrees to pay for removal.
well, the Conservancy actually becomes a committee under that.
Okay, the
City
maintenance
laws.
I said, yeah.
yes,
and the maintenance as well as we were stating.
correct.
Okay.
It's very similar to, it's an entity like Friends of the Park.
Okay. Fine, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Will the clerk please call the roll?
John Folger,
Yes.
Deborah Benko,
Yes.
Mike Snyder,
Yes.
Randy Lipstraw,
Yes.
Vince Leone,
Yes.
Kathy Bell,
Yes.
Mark Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you, the motion has passed, and thank you very much to Connie and Terrell Brand.
And I believe that's all I have tonight, then, Madam President, except to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you.
Kathy, do you want to talk about the naming of the park motion?
It's not ready yet.
That's not right, okay, okay.
Mr. Snyder?
Thank you, Madam President. I too would like to express my thoughts of Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone here, and of course, John and Deb. You have taught me a great deal over the past 4 years. I know that this will not be the last time I will see you. It will be the last time I'll see you in this capacity, but I know you both intend to be very involved in the community, and I look forward to working with you in other ventures, especially related to the 4th of July. So, and yes, Ohio State is coming back bigger and better than ever. So, Purdue's going down. Would like to extend a thank you to Julie Capone. Most of you may not know Julie. Julie is an EMT paramedic with North Central. Tonight she prepared a wonderful dinner for the members of the fire department as a holiday gathering meal. So I just came from that. So thank you, Julie. It was wonderful, a wonderful meal. Tip from the chief. I have to kind of tell you a story before we get into the tip, and the tip comes from Idaho County Sheriff Steve Lavorchek. Last year, as you know, the city of Port Clinton experienced a heck of a lot more snow throughout the winter season than we've seeing this year. And there was an unnamed, an unnamed couple here in town who were watching the evening news one night, and the weatherman came on and said, "Folks, be prepared. We're going to have a heck of a storm here tomorrow night, and so be prepared for massive snow drifts and possibly a foot of snow. So remember, the city rules call that you park your cars on the odd side of the street." So the wife ran out, parked the car on the odd side of the street. Sure enough, it snowed. Snowplows came, cleaned the streets, all was well. 3 or 4 days later, the weatherman came on and said, "Folks, here comes round number 2. This is going to be bigger than the last one. And remember, this is the second snowstorm of the year, so park on the even sides of the streets." And so the woman ran out, moved her car over to the even sides of the street. Snowplows came, cleaned the streets, all was well. 4 or 5 days later, can you believe it? 3rd snowstorm. The weatherman was saying this one's going to be the worst of them all. It's going to be possibly 2 feet, 5-foot drifts. It's going to be high winds. It's going to be incredible. And remember, city ordinance says you should park on the, and the power went out. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, what do I do? What am I going to do with my car?" And the husband put down his newspaper and said, "Honey, why don't you just leave it in the garage this time?" So I told you that story to lead up to. Now, of course, the city of Port Clinton does not have anything related to parking on the outside or even side of the streets to plow. But there are some things you need to be aware of, and I just want to recap the snow emergency levels. There are 3. However, level 1 is currently not in use, simply because the rules associated with a level 1 snow emergency say drive safe and prudent. You should do that today when there's no snow on the ground. These particular rules are currently being reviewed by not only Steve Lewarchuk, but the Ohio Sheriff's Association. But for now, a level 1, drive safe and prudent, but that's in effect all the time. Under a level 2 snow emergency, roads may be considered hazardous, and that degree of hazardness and the condition could change at any time. Use extreme caution while driving on the roads, and allow, of course, plenty of time to get where you're going. A level 3 snow emergency, and here's a little clarification here. A level 3 snow emergency, of course, means the roads are extremely hazardous. Some roads may be closed, but not all. You should travel based on necessity. There's no prohibition on driving under a level 3 snow emergency. However, they do recommend that you contact your employer to find out if you need to go to work. There's kind of a misunderstanding that only emergency vehicles out, but just travel with necessity. Now, of course, the city, through the Safety Service Director, above and beyond that, can declare a snow emergency within the city of Port Clinton. And under a snow emergency, the rules associated to whichever countywide emergency imply, plus the additional prohibition, absolutely no parking on city streets during a city-declared snow emergency. So that is the story and the tip from the chief for tonight. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Mr. Crawford?
Thank you, Madam President. And tonight, obviously, we say goodbye to Mr. Folger and Mayor Tester. I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Folger on 2 committees these last couple of years. One of them was the Finance Committee, and the important thing there is when Mr. Folger was asked to chair the Finance Committee, he agreed, and he worked closely with Mr. Hartline. He put the results of the election of 2009 behind him for the betterment of the city. And that's a trait we should all emulate. You have my utmost respect for that. As for the mayor, hardest working mayor I've seen. I told you a few months back in conversation, I wouldn't want your job. You know, between work at that time, visiting your dad, all the meetings, everything you've been able to do, I have the utmost respect for you also. I'm going to miss both of you. And having said that, there will not be an infrastructure meeting on January 3rd, as my 2 committee members are gone. And with that, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll be back next year.
Mr. Lipscomb?
Nothing tonight, except just wish everybody a safe holiday, happy holidays, not just over the holidays, but maybe remember throughout the year those less fortunate. So.
I just want to announce that the swearing-in ceremony will take place Friday, the 23rd at Municipal Court at 7 p.m., and the public is invited to that. Also, the process for the city council position. Because Mr. Leone ran as an independent in the last election, there is no central committee to appoint his replacement in Ward 1. So it will be a council decision on who will take that seat. If you are interested in being on city council, you need to live in Ward 1. You can be a Republican, independent, a Democrat, or you will have had to have voted somewhere along the line. So you need to send a letter of intent, and it goes to the clerk of council. And I think we set a deadline of January 6th for those letters of intent. I will appoint an ad hoc committee to look at those letters and make a recommendation to full council, though as the ad hoc committee meets, of course, the rest of council is welcome to attend those meetings and is welcome to look at any of the letters of intent for that position. Also, because of that, it will delay my naming of the chairs of committees and the acceptance of the rules of council, because I would like to have the new position seated before I name committees. If you can all, if that's agreeable with everybody. We'll now take comments from the floor. Mr. Yankee.
Jerry Yankee, 117 Cedar Street. I'd like to ask the question, why the lack of activity down at Waterworks Park? I noticed both excavators are gone. I just wondered what's going on, if someone could answer that question for me.
My understanding is that the rock crusher had broken down. It would take 2 weeks to repair. They needed to take it back to their shop. Due to the fact they need that piece of equipment in order to continue, they went ahead and used the 2 excavators at another job to get that started. So as soon as it's repaired, they'll come back and finish up.
Thank you, that's fine.
Anyone else? Mr. Finkel.
Don Finkel, 222 Adams. Brought to my attention today that a friend of mine traveling down I-75 ran into the price of gas of $2.99.9 most of the way, even in Kentucky. I think a thing that we need to be thinking about in Fort Glenn is, why is our gas cheap, or $3.20, in Toledo, Fremont, Sandusky is always much lower, let alone today at $3.90, $2.99.9. I think that's something for the new council to be thinking about.
Though I have to tell
Thank
you,
you.
I was in Fremont Sunday, and their price was the same as ours. But that's the first time I've seen that in a long time. But it was the
Well,
same.
you can go into Walmart and get a card and get it for 10 cents less.
Yes, yeah.
And in Sandusky, you can, I mean,
Oh, I know. Anyone else? I would like to take a little, I think if I can. Try not to get people the mayor. Because I didn't want him to break, but he could be doing that. I have 2 items I'd like to give the mayor and Mr. Folger. This is an overview shot of the city of Port Clinton, and it has comments from all of us here at the table. John might like to ask you to sign his, and you might want to sign John's. But we couldn't do that as we were standing around. So Mayor, this is yours, and very best wishes.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
And Mr. Folger, this is yours. And I just want to thank you very much for your comments, and I think lunch is on you the next
That's true, it's my turn.
time. It's your turn. Yes. And personally, with my health issues, a couple of times you've had to step in at the last minute, and I truly, truly appreciate your graciousness in doing that.
It was a good time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now seeing no more business to this council on December 20th, I will ask one more time for a motion to adjourn, Mr. Folger.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this august body adjourn.
Could I have a second?
Second, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're adjourned.